Hey guys, I just wanted to jump in here really quick in response to the string of dialogue on the post from last week about the family in Mount Lebanon, on opposite sides of the political spectrum. The two families, the neighbors in Mount Lebanon, I should say. So it sparked in me a few thoughts. So first of all, what I realized is, in this group, I've been spending a lot of time in the live sessions talking about the how of peace building and talking about, like the mechanics of, really, it's my work. The impetus of creating this group in the first place was to make a free way for individual people to access the stuff that I've been teaching, like in companies and community centers and stuff. I wanted, during these deeply divided times, for the work that I believe is life-changing. That's the reason that I do it. I truly, with my whole heart, believe in this work and believe in the ability of using improv skills to engage confrontation differently, to transform our experience of collaboration, to transform our experience of what it means to be working toward a big goal and to be carrying a big vision. And so, the purpose of this group was to make that content available to individual people, for the purposes of peace building in your families, in your social circles, in your neighborhoods, et cetera, et cetera. And so, the live sessions have been a lot about the mechanics of this stuff. And what I've realized is that, or what I realized in the dialogue, like reading through the comments, is that the how only matters if we have answered the first question, which is the "is this okay?" question, or perhaps more appropriately said, are there times when it's not appropriate? Are there times when the ethical or the moral response is to say, this relationship is over? And this is what I want to say about that. This is what I think about that after spending a lot of time, sitting with that question and that idea. So first of all, I come from a faith tradition that teaches you to love your neighbor. And for that love to be dangerous love, for that love to be dangerous and to reach across divides, and for it to be unconditional. I come from a faith tradition that talks about not just love your neighbor, but love your enemies. And so, more on that, or not. I'm not interested in, pushing my faith tradition on anybody, but that is the framework that I am approaching from. That idea of dangerous love, that idea of loving even and especially when there is evidence of wrongdoing, purposeful love. And so, when the question comes up, but what about the times when there is evidence that someone is an abuser, was the word used, abuser. And that word hit me. It hit me. And so as I've thought about it, I've realized, that I do come from a framework that says all the more reason to enter with love, all the more reason in those cases. However, what is love? That's another conversation that we've had in this group. And that's a big question. That's a big conversation. But I do know that love requires freedom. And it's not love if it is forced. And so if you are in a relationship with someone, and in the course of that relationship, it becomes clear that this person is going to be participating in hurtful behavior. They're just going to. And you've done the work already, of these sincere conversations, like this is what's happening. These are the consequences of this behavior. What about this? These are the consequences. Look at what's at stake, and this doesn't just have to be about the political divide, because what I'm sharing right now is applicable in so many situations. In the presence of hurt, in the presence of evidence of wrongdoing, what is the response? And, let's say that you've had these conversations and the response is like, this is what it is. Take it or leave it. That person has to be free. In order for it to be love, that person has to be free to say no. And you have to be free as well to set the boundaries that work for you. And so love there has to be freedom there is my point. And one of the things that we talked about, I think it was in session 2 when we broke out the flow chart, is, what does it mean when it's time to edit the scene, so to speak? What does it mean when it's time to say new boundaries, maybe part ways for a little while? How I like to think about this is the same way we do in improv, that editing a scene and being like, we've said what we can say and we do not see eye to eye. And continuing to be in this relationship, continuing to go down this road is just causing both of us hurt. It's time to edit this scene. This is as far as we can go right now. I think about that the same way as I think about improv. So first of all, it's important to know when to edit, because it's an improviser. I think you don't have your real name as your Facebook profile name. You know who I'm talking about. I think you're an improviser. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So the importance of editing at the right time. And I talked about that in session 2. It is an artistic trait to learn the right time in a scene to edit, to be like, this is over now. So first of all, notice when the right time is. Don't belabor it. Don't drag it out forever. Don't make it unclear what's going on. Edit the scene. Edit the scene, right? You have the freedom to do that. And the timing of it is really critical and will determine, the way that you edit will determine how quickly we can do the next thing, which is this improv idea that just because we've had to edit a scene, that doesn't mean that those characters are lost forever. That doesn't mean that it's the end forever. In improv, nothing is forgotten, right? We can always come back later in the show. And fortunately, in life, we're going to keep getting more chances. This is kind of what I was sharing in the most recent session, which is the reason why I think it can be good to do some of this work in families, because you get so many more tries, but you do get more tries with friends too. In a social circle, if you decide right now, this is it's just hurtful for us to keep going. It's just hurtful for us to keep, being in each other's worlds right now. That doesn't mean that it's the end forever, and I think it's important to realize that and to be open to the callback, when we've had time to be freshly inspired by other information that gets offered in different scenes in the show. But I think what's most important, I don't know what your real name is. I think it's Jennifer. I'm sorry that I don't remember. I think what's most important is that we stay open to that inspiration, stay open to that fresh air that comes in the other scenes when we've decided to edit, when we've decided that we need to part ways for a while, indefinitely. I think it's important that we're just staying open to the fact that there is a whole human person behind the evidence that we've collected. And love can do something really powerful. And what I mean by that more specifically is that I believe that even people who are doing hateful things, I believe that love is still whispering to them. And I believe that I'm not the only person, and people like me aren't the only people that are up at night am I doing this right? What am I doing on this planet? Am I doing this right? And I believe that in the sincerity of that ask is an answer. And I believe that people are listening for that answer. And sometimes it's so hard for that whisper to make it through the things we've been taught, make it through the beliefs that we've held for so long. But I believe that powerful force of love is going to keep inviting. So I understand the perspective that was being shared on that post. And there's a lot, there's just a lot. There's a lot of different people in this group and a lot of different perspectives held. But I think the ultimate question that's being asked is, when is it our moral obligation or ethical obligation to say enough is enough, this friendship is over? And so I hope that I've answered that question, that I believe that it is absolutely appropriate to love in the presence of wrongdoing, and to decide I'm going to keep forging ahead with this friendship. I also think that in order for it to be real love, it can't be forced and it can't be from a sense of like duty or obligation. It has to be sincere. Otherwise, it's not love. So that's what I think about that. And I wanted to pop in here in response to that because I didn't want to post and ghost, as they say, and because I care so much about what you guys are saying. And I think that those are really valid points. So I just wanted to pop in here. Thank you guys so much for your thoughtful commentary, even when we disagree. And there were people commenting on the post that didn't agree. And I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate the way that you are thoughtful about what it's going to take for our country to stop being on fire. Big love to all of you. And yes, I will continue the conversation. I'm here and I appreciate all of your thoughts. All right. Bye, guys. Talk to you later.